Welcome to the Educational Passport Foundation. With the support of Epf.Africa Youth Association and United Nations online volunteers, we have highlighted real stories regarding migration, education, poverty, and unemployment in the Republic of the Gambia. We invite you to watch and discover the current challenges and implications so that we can learn how to help solve them and support.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to EPF Interviews. I am Elijah from EPF.
And I'm Amanda, a United Nations online volunteer. Thank you so much for joining us today. Before we get started, let me tell you a little bit about EPF. So we are a registered non-profit charity foundation that aims to support underprivileged youth in the Gambia. The Educational Passport Foundation, with the support of Simuka Youth Association of Zimbabwe and the United Nations online volunteers, aim to support less privileged school dropouts to return back to school. Most young people in these countries lack one fundamental right, which is to have access to quality education. And this is mainly caused by lack of financial assistance. Therefore, EPF has created an initiative to help these individuals achieve their goals.
Thank you so much, Amanda. And today here we have Dr. Suleiman Jai, or Solon Jai, a political scientist, a visiting professor at Bluefield College. Thanks for joining us again, Dr. Jai.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
The problems are so big that if any one politician or any one person tells you that there's a silver bullet to the Gambian problem, you should run for your life, because the only way you can do that is really through brute force. Really, that's the only way you can do it. That's why in countries like Singapore, they had a benevolent dictator, Kuan Yew. He was able to basically socially engineer the entire society within 20, 30 years. But it's going to be really hard to do that in the Gambia now. I think Jammeh had an opportunity when he came in to do that. Today, it's just hard to do that. Even Rwanda were able to do that under Kagame, but because Rwanda went through a massive bloodletting, and the opportunity was there for somebody to come in and force people to do certain things that they don't want. And even maybe they want it, maybe they don't. But he was able to do that in a way that really we cannot do that in the Gambia today. So we have many compounding problems, but migration itself is a plus, not a minus for the Gambia right now. It's a minus in the sense that a good many of the people that are leaving, we have a lot of flight of human capital. But these people, many of them, really, they don't have any skills. They were just going to sit at home anyways, because where are the jobs? You can argue that Gambian youth don't want to work, they want to drink attire, but where are the jobs? Really, where are the jobs? We don't have enough jobs in the country to keep up with population growth. So we have so many problems. And I think the government has to intervene. The government has to produce the jobs because the private sector is not big enough to do so. So the government has to. And this goes against the Cold War concept of, capitalism that the state cannot. That's nonsense. In America, the United States Department of Defense is the biggest employer in the world. And America is the biggest capitalist country in the world. So that's nonsense. It really doesn't make any sense.
So if I may, if you mentioned that the education right now in the Gambia is lacking, would that also affect the country in the future? Because you are severely lacking right now a young and educated workforce. Those who can are migrating. So whoever's left is an older generation of people. So does that also affect job prospects within the country for any youth or even the elders who are there?
The problem is that the jobs are not there. They're not. But even if the jobs were, have we prepared our students enough to actually deal with those, to be able to work in whatever we think they can? Because if you think about it, our education system is still structured the way the British structured it. That means we produce people who are just smart enough to write, to be clerks and secretaries, right? But nothing else. We tried to change that a little bit. But when we tried to change it, what we ended up doing was just producing mass graduates with no skills. I mean, the grade 12, the 12th grade results just came out. And when you look at it, I think 12,000 students sat the exams or whatever. Few hundreds actually got all excellent grades. So that means a large swath of the population, of the kids, really, we just wasted our resources putting them in school. They shouldn't even have been there to begin with. Now, what's the point of putting people in a system where they're not getting anything out of it? And we also have this stigma around technical education, woodwork, carpentry, metalwork, that kind of stuff. Masonry. Here, that's the money. That's the funny thing. And actually, it is money in Gambia. The problem is the ones that are doing it are all mostly from Senegal and neighboring countries. The Gambians are not, because most of them are not skilled in this. Because the school system does not put a lot of emphasis on this. It puts a lot of emphasis on English language and grammar and basic math. But to what end? To what end? What are you going to do with that afterwards, right? Because not everybody's going to go to university. So what kind of skills? I mean, right now, my son is 10 years old, right? In their school, they're already coding. He can code his own games. What's stopping us from doing that? This is free. It's not even that expensive to do this. All it takes is just a thinker, a serious thinker to say, hey, this is what we're going to do. And by God, we're going to do it. But the problem is the status quo is really just working for many people. And the masses don't understand that they can actually force their electorate to make these changes. The people they elected to make these changes. Because they think after every election, you go back and mind your business. You have your campaign, you dance and eat the good food, but that's it. But democracy requires you to petition and force your government to do things that are actually going to be beneficial. But the other problem is the people don't even know these things. That's some of the limitations, right? All of us are privy to this because we are overseas. We are overseas here. We assume this is easy to do. Yes, it is, because I'm here. But the ones in the government actually do know this. The people don't, but the people in the government, the people who are drafting these policies, the people who are running this country, actually understand this. Why are they not doing it? That's my question. It's so confusing. Why they're not doing it? Is it a lack of laziness? Or is lack of care? Or is it lack of resources? It could be all of these things combined. But the government has to be innovative. The government has to think outside the box. Government cannot just be static, because the world is changing around us. Things are moving at a very fast pace. And if you don't fix your problems are going to overwhelm you someday, and you actually won't have any ideas or whatsoever. Because just look at the urbanization in the country. We have massive, Gambia is one of the most densely populated countries in Africa. Today, almost 50% of the Gambian population live within a 50-mile radius. More than half of the population, by the way, live within a 50-mile radius. That's nuts. That's absolutely insane. So what you have is that a lot of rural people are migrating to the urban areas. So we have a massive urbanization in the Gambia. Everybody looking for the same jobs. And these jobs don't exist. So that means we have left the farmland. So that means we don't have enough production in the country too when it comes to agriculture and that stuff, right? Because the able-bodied youth have left the farms. They're all now in the cities. Or we don't really have cities, but they're all now in the urban areas. And those people they don't have jobs. And at some point, they will need to survive. They cannot just rely on they cannot be at the mercy of their family members forever. They have to survive. They have to establish their own families. And if government doesn't do anything to start building houses for people who don't have access to housing, all of this is just going to start crumbling. It's just going to be, we're talking about thieves now. We're going to be talking about basically burglars, like big time burglars, like people literally carrying really crazy weapons because they have to survive.
Amazing, brother. Amazing. Shoot. thinking about it, we have a long way to go. We have a long way to go, but the future is still promising. We need to take these measures. That's why you mentioned the government. They have a big role, and people like you need to be leveraged. We have a lot of Gambians out there, smart and have brilliant ideas. So our governments need not to politicize this, but education is always connected to politics. So we have to leverage people like you, and then so that we can build our nation. It's necessary. It's very necessary. And thank you so much, Dr. Jai, for coming to speak with us, and sharing your valuable insights. It has been an extremely fruitful conversation. I know you're gonna hate me for saying this, but we applaud you, brother. You're doing a lot of things in our community. You are everywhere almost. As your status, as high your status is, I would say that because you can open doors that are very high, and then you sat on platforms that are very high too, brother. Amanda, this brother is so humble. He's very humble. Whenever you pick your phone to text him, he will call you. He's always ready, when it comes to the Gambian people or African people, and we applaud you for that. So many people, have been in this, try to contact. I'm not trying to compare here, but I'm just trying to set light on that, and it's important because we should give credit when it's due. And we thank you so much, for coming to talk to us. Keep doing what you're doing. Don't change yourself for nobody. You are on the right track, brother. And we just pray that, God bless you more and more with, increase your knowledge. And then so all of us can benefit. As we are benefiting right now, we can continue benefiting. And, even your progenies, when we are gone, people can benefit from your knowledge. Thank you so much.
Always far too kind with your words.
It's necessary.
No, but thank you so much, because even from me as a person who's from India, all your words and all your perspectives have really shed a light on topics that I've probably not had the kind of inside knowledge that you do. And so that's so impactful that your words and your knowledge is going to be spread through our platform, and it will reach out to more people. And that is the goal of this entire interview, is to have these perspectives and this knowledge just reaching as many people as possible, so we can create an actual impact for a cause like this to help the people in Gambia at present. So we thank you so much for taking the time and sharing your valuable knowledge with us. So Alaji already has said what he had to, and I truly agree with all that he mentioned. You are very humble, and it's been a great learning experience just talking to you for this short period of time.
Thanks for having me, folks. Really appreciate the time.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you all for watching and supporting our journey. There are many, many more videos to come, so please stay tuned. And don't forget to donate to the Educational Passport Foundation. You can visit our website at www.epffoundation.org and support our cause by donating to our GoFundMe page. All the links are in the description below. At EPF, we turn dreams into actions, because united we stand.
Educational Passport Foundation. We turn dreams into actions.